Every morning at exactly 7 a.m., people in the quiet neighborhood would pause to watch her. A little girl in a bright pink coat walking 6 majestic German shepherds down the street. They walked in perfect sync, never pulling, never barking, just following her like loyal soldiers. No leash ever tangled, no command ever spoken. Neighbors whispered in awe, "Who is she? How does she control them? Where are her parents?" No one knew her name. She never spoke to anyone. But one morning, something changed. A man tried to follow her, and what he discovered left the entire town shocked. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Every morning, just as the sun rose above the red-bricked houses of Maple Street, people stopped whatever they were doing to watch her. A little girl, no older than 6, walked calmly down the sidewalk in her bright pink coat, surrounded by 6 enormous German shepherds. They moved in perfect formation, their paws struck the pavement in rhythm, their heads held high, their eyes fixed ahead. She never tugged a leash, never raised her voice. Yet somehow the dogs obeyed her every step. Neighbors would whisper, "There she is again, the girl in pink." Some smiled, others simply stared. No adult ever walked beside her. No one knew where she came from or where she went. She always took the same path, past the bakery, across the small park, then vanished behind the old stone house at the edge of town. Children wanted to play with her, but she never stopped. She just smiled softly and kept walking, her little hands gripping the leashes, like secrets she'd never tell. And though the sight warmed hearts every morning, no one could shake the same chilling thought. Why was a child that young walking 6 police dogs all alone? David Miller was not the kind of man who believed in miracles. A local journalist for the town paper, he'd covered everything from lost pets to political scandals. But nothing ever caught his attention quite like her. He first saw the little girl one misty morning while getting coffee. 6 trained German shepherds walking in perfect harmony, beside a child barely tall enough to hold their leashes. It didn't make sense. Every morning after that he found himself returning, watching from his car as she passed. She always wore the same pink coat, her hair tied neatly, her face calm, too calm for a child her age. Finally, one day, curiosity won. David followed her quietly down Maple Street, camera in hand. The dogs immediately sensed him. Their heads turned in unison, 6 pairs of sharp eyes locking on his every move. He froze. The little girl turned too, her expression innocent but guarded. "Are you following me?" she asked softly. David lowered his camera. "No, sweetheart." I was just before he could finish. The dog stepped forward, forming a perfect circle around her. Not barking, not growling, just standing, like soldiers protecting their commander. David felt a chill crawl down his spine. Something about this little girl wasn't ordinary, and he was about to find out just how extraordinary she truly was. The next morning, David returned, this time determined to uncover the truth. From across the street, he watched the girl in pink appear again, 6 dogs by her side, walking with quiet confidence through the waking city. Traffic buzzed. Shopkeepers lifted shutters, and people smiled as she passed. Then, in a blink, everything changed. A delivery truck came speeding down the narrow lane, its tires screeching on wet asphalt. The driver shouted, slamming the brakes, but it was too late. It was heading straight toward her. David's heart stopped. He started to run, but before he could reach her, the dogs moved. Two of them lunged forward, grabbing the girl's coat and yanking her backward. The others spread out in front of her, barking fiercely, their bodies forming a barrier between her and the truck. The sound of claws scraping pavement mixed with the hiss of tires as the vehicle skidded to a halt. Inches away, gasps echoed through the street. The driver stumbled, outshaken but unheard. David rushed over, breathless. "Are you okay?" The girl nodded, clutching her coat tightly, but something in her eyes made him pause. Fear, yes, but also guilt. As one of the dogs brushed against her, the fabric of her coat shifted and David saw it, a small bundle wrapped against her chest, hidden beneath the pink fabric. He froze. "What are you hiding?" he whispered, her eyes filled with tears. "Please don't tell anyone." David couldn't sleep that night. The image of the little girl clutching something beneath her coat haunted him. Who was she protecting and why? The next morning, he began digging for answers. He visited the local school, the police station, even the animal shelter. But no one had ever seen the girl officially registered anywhere. No records, no guardians, nothing. Finally, an older officer recognized her description. His expression darkened. "That's Lily Carter," he said quietly. "Her parents died 6 months ago in a car accident outside town. Her father was a K9 trainer for the police. Those dogs were his." David felt his chest tighten. "You mean she's been alone all this time?" The officer nodded. "We thought she went to live with relatives, but it seemed she didn't. Maybe the dogs kept her hidden." Later that afternoon, David drove to the old house at the edge of town, the same place the girl always disappeared behind. The gate creaked as he pushed it open. In the backyard, he found them. The 6 German shepherds lying protectively around a small blanket fort. Inside, Lily sat cross-legged, feeding a tiny puppy from a bottle. When she saw him, she didn't run. She simply looked up and said softly, "Please don't take us away. They're my family." Now, David's eyes burned. He finally understood. She wasn't hiding something. She was hiding everyone she had left. David sat quietly on the cold ground, surrounded by the dogs who no longer growled at him. They seemed to sense he meant no harm. One rested its head on Lily's lap while the tiny puppy she had been hiding nestled against her chest, weak but breathing. "How long have you been here?" he asked softly. Lily looked down, her voice trembling. "Since the day they didn't come back. I didn't want anyone to take me away from them. Daddy always said the dogs would protect me." David's throat tightened. The truth hit him like a wave. This little girl had survived for months on her own, guarded by her father's trained K9s. They had kept her warm, found scraps of food, even stood watch every night. He took a deep breath. "You don't have to hide anymore, Lily. I promise you'll all stay together." That evening, Officer Daniels arrived with social services, expecting tragedy. But what they found melted every heart. In a corner of the living room sat letters Lily had written to her father, one for each day since he passed. One read, "I walk the dogs every morning, Daddy, so no one knows I'm alone." Tears filled every eye in the room. Weeks later, the once quiet house at the end of Maple Street was alive again. laughter echoing where silence once lived. Lily now lived with Officer Daniels and his wife, a kind couple who had taken her in as their own. But most importantly, her 6 loyal dogs stayed with her. Every morning, just as before, Lily walked down the same street in her pink coat, the dogs by her side. Only, this time, she wasn't hiding. She waved to neighbors, smiled at shopkeepers, and even stopped to talk to other children. The town that once whispered about the strange girl with the dogs now called her their little miracle. David watched from across the street, a small smile tugging at his lips. The girl who once walked in silence now carried a joy that brightened the whole neighborhood. As the camera faded on Lily and her dogs, disappearing into the morning sun, the narrator's voice echoed softly. Sometimes the smallest souls carry the heaviest burdens, and sometimes love walks quietly beside us, waiting to be seen. And for the first time in a long while, Maple Street felt alive with hope, with love, and with